Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me. We are going to be going over the APA forecast for the week of January 20th, 2014. So, we're going to be looking at a whole bunch of different markets and on the bigger time frames just to give us a lay of the land as to what to expect for the up and coming week. I'm sure many of you are S&P 500 traders. And a lot of you are probably futures traders as well. So let's go ahead and start with that. On the ES, we have some interesting things happening here. First off, you can kind of see where the zones are spread out over this past week and kind of what that's looked like here for the past few weeks. This is a 4-hour chart, if you will, so that you can kind of see how we've been pushing up against the highs here several times and against that zone right there at 1834.25. So there's obviously excuse me, 1838.25. So obviously there's something there as far as resistance goes. So kind of looking at us bouncing back and forth in between these levels here for the up and coming week. The aqua zones are fresh zones, so we look to get at least one retest off of each one of those to some degree. Or the traditional APA zones money bounce, as I like to call it. So those are the different levels, and well, this zone up here has just been hit so many times that I really wouldn't see, or I really wouldn't be surprised that if we get another retest maybe of the 23 area, then another retest of the high, we may be able to break through 1846 just because the markets have been so strong here. So we will see what happens this coming week. On the NASDAQ futures, or NQ for short, we are looking at price making new highs here, and we found a little bit of resistance, and so price looks like it's coming down here. But I think it realistically could maybe test some of these dead zones here that we've had over here on the right hand side, something like that maybe, and see if we don't get another push to the upside there. So, or we may actually look at you see where these three highs are over here, as well as that little bit of consolidation over here on the right hand side, just right there. See how that forms, and it feels like this retest is possibly a retest of these previous highs over there. So let's see if we can't get another test of the highs and possibly breaking through on that as well. On crude oil, it looks like we have made our move from supply down to demand very rapidly and very quickly. We've also obviously found demand down here on this yellow zone, which these are the two bounces on that yellow zone. It was created all the way back here at on May the 1st of last year is when this zone was actually created, and you can kind of see that formation of consolidation that formed the zone, and now we are seeing retests thereof. So money bounce and secondary bounce, and we seem to be going to the upside now. Now if we flip this over to a daily, I think this is kind of interesting. Same type of zone play is still in effect, and you can kind of see it coming down here for us. But the interesting thing to me, at least, is we've already been in this zone here in the later parts of December, and we've rallied out of it, And now we've come back down into this demand zone. And again, I'm referring to these zones as demand zones because these are bigger time frame zones and obviously a much larger perspective. This zone again was created back there in May. At the same time, our 4-hour zone was created. So we're going to see if this thing can really find good support down here at this level and rally to the upside, or if maybe this thing is kind of short-lived and break through the brown zone that is right here. All right, so the levels that we're watching at is 100 to 99.34 on the daily, as well as this zone, this aqua zone down here, if it breaks to the downside, so we could find new demand down there if we do actually break to the downside here on the daily. But that 4-hour chart makes it seem that we've already found support, and obviously we have, and it's coming up out of there. So we need to let price action tell us when the downturn is going to happen. But until then, let's see how high this thing can get before that downturn happens again here. Moving over to the Forex markets, we're looking at Euro USD, and we can see that we've been in a nice downtrend here, and it looks like we can also draw a nice little trend line going to the downside. We just saw this brown zone that has obviously been hit several times. This dates all the way back to 11/26 of 2013, or of last year. We just broke through that, so let's see the next brown zone get retested below, which it looks like it's fairly large. So we'll see if we get some support right off of that level, and see just how low the euro will go here. All right, moving over to the euro pound, we can see that we've obviously kind of been in the same type of downtrend here. We are retesting a 4-hour demand zone that was put in place on the 9th. So we've come down and retested it really hard and fast. So that is very interesting. So obviously two things can happen here. This is the money bounce. So we just put in a small inside bar here. So it's very possible that price could come out to the north side. But we want to wait and see until price action actually confirms that movement. So that candle formation, I believe, is a good formation for a possible upside move, but don't count your chickens before they hatch. So it's also possible that we may be continuing to the downside, and this may be just a little stutter. And we got to wait and to see if price can actually come out of the zone, and it also gives us price action that would confirm move to the long side as we are retesting the low, and this would be a potential money bounce here. But I think it's also very easy that that it could also break down to the downside here as well. So we want to just wait and see what the bars tell us next as to what position to take. But it's obvious at an area of interest, at an area of demand, and we will see how the markets line up. Now, if it does end up breaking to the downside, let's see if we have anything below that here. Gotta check my data series here. I'm only loading a year, so let's go load in 2 years of data. And if we load in 2 years of data, these are the zones underneath that. So it looks like we have some space if it does break to the downside there. Moving over to the pound dollar, this is kind of what we're seeing here on that particular instrument. Looks like we are in an overall downtrend here. this would be the fourth bounce on a trend line that we drew from the high, and we're looking for big time support to happen down right around $1.62. So this is what the pound dollar looks like on the 4 hour. Let's shift up to a daily and see what we see. On the daily, it looks like we've actually received resistance up here at a brown zone that price has been bouncing on for quite a while. And let's just see how old this zone is here. This dates back to November 25th of 2009. So this is somewhat of an older zone, and you can kind of see the down trend line that we have here on the daily. So it's reloading into a daily zone on multiple bounces off this daily zone here. So we'll see if it can go a little bit lower before it pops back up to the upside. But because it is reloading this zone after multiple touches that have been in pretty quick succession here, I'm kind of curious to see whether or not we will actually maybe break through this zone in respecting this trend line and the old supply zone that we see from 2009. So that's kind of my perspective there, and that's where our next daily demand would be from this particular uh, market on the daily time frame here. Moving over to some stocks, let's look at Apple. I'm sure many of you guys like to day trade Apple or possibly swing trade it or maybe do some options. So with Apple, it looks like it is possibly becoming a little bit of a range locked here, as we're right in the middle in between this zone that's had its money bounce on it and resistance zone up here that we've just failed to break here over the past month or so. And it looks like we've found a little bit of new resistance, or excuse me, support, and we could possibly be moving back up to the upside here. So let's go ahead and take a look at it on a 4-hour chart too. Okay, and again, we're kind of in the middle of the range, I would say. We've kind of retested some previous highs over here. And we've broken below that. We're making new lows, so lower lows and lower highs. So we are in a downtrend on the bigger time frame perspectives. But these are the levels that I would anticipate us seeing reactions from over this week, as well as possibly all the way down to 489.65. But this, we would be expecting to see a money bounce off of this zone here to some degree, and that could lead us back up to retest this zone right there, and then possibly down. Okay, so we will see how all this stuff works out here, but it is coming into an area of interest on the 4-hour time frame, and but we do know that this is kind of in a range that has been created, and it's kind of been bouncing back and forth, but we have just made a recent new lower low right here, so we want to keep that into mind with a possible continuation of the downtrend. Alright, let's go ahead and look at Google now. And with Google, I just see us moving to the upside here. And maybe we could draw in a little trend line there. I do like to use trend lines in my analysis. So let's go ahead and go with this one for right now, but we've made new highs on this market. I would be anticipating a retest of this zone down here and all of this area of consolidation over here on our right. See that nice area of consolidation over here. Would like to see a retest there. and then possibly a move back up to the upside. And it would be really nice if we could all make this happen off of a trend line here. So if it could come right around the trend line somewhere, I think that would be really, really cool to see more of a longer term play on Google in that fashion. So again, this is the highest that Google has been, and we will see if there isn't a good retest of the highs here in the short term play. Just wanted to bring our attention over here to Amazon. I think it's kind of interesting. It's gotten really range locked, but this is the first retest of that high, of the new high that's been put into place. In my mind, it is a full retest of that high right here. So maybe we draw a little bit smaller zone, and I feel like it's kind of retesting the wick of this candle here, and just a real good retest of that high in general. So we will see if price doesn't come back here to the bottom of this range on Amazon here in this coming week here on the 4 hour time frame. And if it does break below this, because this zone has been hit obviously quite a bit and it's formed a real nice range, then I would be looking at 385.32 down to 379.50 to find a little bit of demand slash support down there. So that's it's just Amazon for us here. Moving over to gold miners, it looks like we are in an uptrend, a very, very nice uptrend actually. So you can kind of see the new fresh zones that have been created, but we do have some resistance that's going to come into play right around 23.7 to 23.88. So we need to be aware of that, but feels like this uptrend has been very, very nice, and pretty consistent here. So looking for resistance to jump in right there for us. But you can see that the that this particular instrument is moving pretty fast right now. It has been really consolidated in the past, but it looks like it's getting some speed. A lot of these are fresh levels on this chart, so we will see how these levels play out in this coming week. The last market that I would like to cover today is TLT, or the bonds ETF. We are looking at a retest of the 105.71 up to the 106.41 level here. So that is going to be in play this coming week as we look at it on a 4 hour time frame. We see a couple nice little zone bounces as we've been coming up here, and we're going to see if this thing will actually reverse and come back down, possibly to this zone or a previous high that could be acting as a little bit of support for us here. So I would be looking for it to retest this level pretty quickly in the start of the week, and then coming back down and possibly seeing it in an inverted level here as resistance becomes support, and possibly another push too. So those are the levels that I'll be watching on this particular instrument, and we will see how they all work out over the next week. So we will be tweeting with these different instruments. So if you guys want to follow us on Twitter, or would like to come to the Tuesday webinar at 4 p.m. Eastern, we will be more than happy to explain to you why we're looking at the areas that we're looking at, and how all this stuff works together, and hopefully can give you a real nice context as you look to put on trades and as you continue your investing or trading careers. So thanks everybody for watching, and may the trend be with you.